It's Canada's birthday, and because I'm Canadian, I had to celebrate my way. I love you, Canada! Happy 150th birthday, Canada! I am so proud to be Canadian, and I wanted to celebrate the Qaked way by making Canada's new 150th logo into a cake. Before I began making this cake, I wanted to decorate my board that the cake will sit on. You want to do this at least 1 to 2 days in advance so that the board has a chance to dry before you start putting cakes on it, or else your board will start to get dents in it if you accidentally touch it. Start by putting a thin layer of shortening all over the board. Then roll out a thin layer of fondant to cover your board. I use my fondant mat to do this, but you can do this with just a rolling pin as well. If your fondant is too thick or not wide enough to cover your board, use your rolling pin directly onto the board to stretch it out until your board is covered, and then cut off the edges with an X-Acto or sharp knife. I used my little maple leaf cutter with the rounder edge down to make the little maple leaf indents as a pattern onto my board. Then let it completely dry for 1 to 2 days before putting any cakes on the board. I used my hot glue gun and some ribbon to cover the sides of my board. You want to print your logo on the exact dimensions of your cake, and you want to print out a few of these so that you have a few to work with. I cut out each triangle and then used it to trace onto a cardboard piece and cut out each cardboard piece to put underneath each little cake. You want to make sure you do this step so it's easy for the cake to actually move around instead of actually picking up the actual cake. I made a sturdy vanilla cake recipe in a 9 by 13 inch pan as well as a 7 inch cake pan to make sure I had enough cake to cut out each piece. I put all of my pieces on first to make sure I knew where to cut them. You can do this on the actual pans before making the cake so you know what sizes to make. I then begin to cut out each piece, making sure your knife is straight down. Put each one to the side, putting the board that goes with it right under it. When making such small cakes, I would really recommend using Ganache to cover your cakes because it sets hard and you don't have to worry about losing your sharp edges. Start by putting a small amount of Ganache onto your board and then place your cake on top of the board so that it sticks. Then start covering each little cake in Ganache, trying to keep your edges as straight as possible. Ganache will start to set up as you use it, so it will be easy to get your edges. The smaller the cake gets, the harder it is, so start with the bigger pieces until you get the hang of it. Put all of your pieces in the fridge for about 30 minutes for it to firm up before putting on your fondant. I am so fortunate to have been born and raised in such an amazing country. To me, Canada represents peace, diversity, tolerance, the ability to be yourself, free healthcare, and we have one good-looking Prime Minister. I made 8 different colors of fondant to match the logo as best as I could. I changed up a few of these as I went along. Make sure to keep referring back to a colored photo of the logo to know which piece needs to be what color. Roll out a thin layer of fondant to cover your small cake. Remember to make it as thin as possible. With ganache and fondant on your pieces, your logo will end up looking much thicker than you originally intended if you're not careful. With a paintbrush, cover your ganache with some piping gel or water to make it a little sticky for your fondant to stick to. Then cover your cake with fondant using your hands and a fondant smoother to smooth out all of the small edges. Then cut off the excess with an X-Acto knife or a sharp knife. Repeat for each piece in the right colors. We don't live in igloos, we don't have moose as pets. It's about not a boot, although we do sometimes say A. We wear toques, not beanies. We go tobogganing, not sledding. And we have a Tim Hortons every 2 blocks. To cut out the words and the numbers, I put some Tylose into some black fondant to make gum paste, to make the fondant a bit stiffer so it would dry faster. I then used my big logo template to put over my dry board and used my X-Acto knife to lightly mark where each piece needed to go. Remember, the size of your actual cake will be slightly bigger than your template because now these pieces have a layer of ganache and a layer of fondant on it. So it won't fit exactly, but it will give you the basic idea of where it needs to go. Then put down a little bit of piping gel onto the board and stick each piece where they need to go, spacing them out proportionately as you go. Then add your numbers and letters, and there you have it, Canada's new 150th birthday logo. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you like this cake, and if you love Canada, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet seen my last video, click here to watch it, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel right over here. Thank you for watching, and happy Canada Day. Bye!